Happy Beyond Fit podcast with Maria Browning, former synchronized swimmer from Colombia turned into a lifestyle entrepreneur. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through quite an exotic journey and deep journey with an amazing performer, Fabio Barros. He has been a zest for many years and a Zumba presenter at every single Zumba convention. But today we're going to learn, oh my God, this conversation is like a spaghetti conversation. One thing takes you to another and another, and it feels more like being at a theme park. And to me, everything relates to water. So to me, it feels like going down the slides at a water park, and one slide and another one, and it leads to another. And then at the end, everything makes sense. So what an interesting conversation with Fabio. And on top of that, he is giving us a performance at the same time as he is talking, showing us one of his amazing skills, one of the many skills that he has, because he's a painter, he's an actor, he's a sculptor, a performer, a dancer, a choreographer, an event producer, a Zumba instructor, a dad, a grandfather, an amazing friend. So all of these hats, you're going to see them all there. Get ready for the water park and to get on all of the slides. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for joining us and enjoy Fabio Barros. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for
In your
having me.
super busy agenda. Oh my God, I don't know how you do so much with having two little babies still at home. I know they're no longer that young, but they keep you busy. So I
They do.
really appreciate that you're here. Thank you for making the time for me and for whoever is going to enjoy this conversation. How's life, my friend?
Life has been busy, but in a positive way. We keep growing, keep building, keep learning. And I think that's what we have to be celebrating, right?
Yeah, you're ready, set, go for our plan. So for those listening, let me introduce Fabio Barros. He has been a zest for 6 years only, but don't let that confuse you because he has been a Zumba presenter for at least 16 years, actually. From the very first Zumba convention that was very tiny and intimate, he was already there presenting before anybody else. So he has a long journey to share with us, but because he is amazing as a makeup artist. I don't know if you call yourself a makeup artist. I've never heard you saying it. You don't even mention it on your biography. I don't know why, because you're amazing. So guys, for everybody, I have asked Fabio to please do makeup while we're having this conversation. So we're going to see him on camera doing his makeup, something special. Have you decided which kind of makeup you're going to do?
Sure. So because of the invitation came a couple hours ago, I was like, what can I do when I'm talking and preparing, improvising a little studio over here. So I thought about, I'm going to be the Sultan. A lot of people know me as the male belly dancer because of couple shows that I produce and because I have been doing belly dance and studying belly dance for a while, let's say that. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight.
The Sultan is this character that you play at your special masterclass at convention, which I am sure you did not create this session for Zumba convention. You've been doing it in your own productions, I am sure, right?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Let's go back to the beginning when you asked me like why I don't say anything about me being a makeup stylist. So when I started studying to be an actor and as a dancer, all in the same process, right? I
Well,
had the opportunity to study.
how old were you back then?
I was 14 years old. So I had someone that saw me painting, drawing because I always did art. And that person says like, you're going to be a great makeup stylist. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I was not really looking for that. So I started to learn more about it and people start to see that I could be exposed really quick. So I learned a lot of the technique of the to do makeup and I do work as a makeup stylist. I still do a lot of fun things related to that, but I will not lie to you. When I was creating my bio, it is so weird to be talking about yourself, right? And I was doing the whole thing and putting me, I was like, you know what? Let's take a couple things out because since I moved to this country 18 years ago, I celebrated yesterday 18 years
And you
living in
moved
US.
from Brazil to Miami, right? Or South Florida?
Correct.
Okay.
was South Florida. So I moved first to Plantation. That was my first stop. And from Plantation, I went, let me remember, Coral Springs. From Coral Springs to Boca Raton. And I spent most of the years in that I was living in South Florida in Boca Raton. And I invested so much in a career as a dancer. As much as I was doing makeup here and there, and people start to know me as a makeup stylist as well, my focus was in dance. So that's why I moved to this
So you
country. I
put
was
the
like, oh,
makeup career on the side.
kind of. It's all the time that someone invites me to perform any kind of style, I always like to do my own thing, right? So I always show up, people like, oh, wow, who are you? I was like, well, I'm Fabio, but I do those things too. So I start my career as a dancer over here in US as a ballroom dancer, a Latin ballroom dancer. So I did salsa, mambo, cha-cha, tango, all of those things in about. And all the time that I had a little opportunity to introduce something else was related to Brazil. Because my first business visa in this country was as a Brazilian dancer.
Okay, let's slow down. So in
All
ballroom,
right.
you don't get to do your other fun side of you, which is the makeup. So when you start doing performances, which I assume you were doing already performances ever since Brazil, right? It's not something that is started in the
Correct.
US. So
No.
you were usually the one doing makeup on everybody for productions, or is this something that most performers know how to do?
I can tell you that when you are a professional dancer and you work in entertainment, the whole environment expects that you can do your own makeup. And because I was a makeup stylist, and I wanna make a career where gonna people will see that I was more than just a dancer. I was a dancer, I was a choreographer, I was a makeup stylist. That was the way I decided to present myself in most of places. But the
And
first
that's why I'm asking you this question, because usually people don't realize that they see a show and they think that you had somebody doing your hair and makeup and doing everything
uh,
for you. And they don't realize it's like, no, we're running the show 100%. We do everything on our own. So this is very
kind of
interesting to clarify. Very important touch. Uh-huh. Okay, so wait. So you moved to the United States and you started dancing ballroom first. You came with a whole dance background from Brazil. In which city were
correct.
you born, or in which city did you grow up in Brazil?
So I grew up in a city called Olinda, is in Pernambuco, northeast area in Brazil. I like to say that that's the Florida in Brazil, right? The
Oh,
places where we have the beaches. It's hot as hell most of the year. That's where I grew up. I grew up on the beach doing everything related to culture because if you come from that area in Brazil, you just grow up with culture. That's the way it is. Like everybody, most of people dance, most of people sing, not me. I can't sing to save my life, but I
wow, just
was,
one of the arts that you cannot do.
well, I can't sing at all. I think that if I start singing, people will be like, oh, let's get this guy out right now. So I started studying dance and build a career as a dancer when I was 14. That was the beginning of the whole thing. And in that time, I was doing Afro-Brazilian rhythm. So I introduced myself to
What do you
someone.
mean? You mean that this was the first rhythm you were trained to dance? Okay.
Correct.
So it
Correct.
became
That's a
your
really
specialty
fun
for a
part.
while.
Correct. I
Okay.
wouldn't say specialty because the way I start in the dance career was I was a 14 years old, really ugly kid, skinny like this, without any support for anybody.
But
And
you
I
always
had
had the long hair?
no, no, I had a really short hair. The long hair came, I'm gonna tell you, after my son born. My son is 16, so we are talking about a little bit less than 17 years. I
So you were
decided to
already in
let
the
go.
United States.
Correct, correct.
And
So
when you let
when
it grow, that's when all of a sudden you realized that you could dance with your hair, that you had a special talent that you didn't know of.
they have choreography, right?
Yeah, exactly. That your curls dance on its own.
It is so funny because when I shaved my head once, so my son just born, I went to the bathroom and I was looking to myself in the meeting in the mirror, and in my mind was like, I'm starting a new phase in my life. It's a new journey that is starting, right? So I need to find a meaning for this. So I decided to shave my head. And I remember leaving the bathroom with my head shaved, and the mother of my son was in the bed with him. And she took a couple seconds just looking at me, like without any words. And I will never forget. She said something like, "Oh my God, Fabio, you are like a child. We cannot leave you alone." And in that time, I was like, that means that I suck. That looks so ugly. That, and I spent, I would say more, almost a year shaving completely. I was shiny
So you
on my
really liked
head.
it, looking like a little
I,
boy.
I loved it. I shaved the whole thing.
But wait, what is it that you love the most? I am sure it's the fact that you didn't have to spend any time on washing the hair and putting the product,
Mhm.
and it was freeing, right? I bet.
Oh, it's like you wake up, you're ready. And for someone like you have curly hair. You know that when we wake up, it's not just we are red, right? This
It's
is
a
for people
beast.
that has waves or straight hair. No, yes, it's flat over here. Everything's in this side, so you have to sculpt and put leave-in and do this, do that. So in that time, I didn't know about those things, right? Because I was just playing. Wake up and I'm ready for it. And after almost a year, I remember the mother of my son, she came to me and she asked, like, did you ever think about to let your hair grow? How would your hair look like if your hair was longer? I was like, I had no idea. I never let it grow. It was maximum like this big. And after she asked that, I was like, let's try it. So my hair was like an afro for a while until it started to get heavy enough and falling. And I went to a store and I was just walking around trying to find the right products for my hair because now I'm letting grow and I'm not happy, right? And this guy was following me everywhere I was going. The guy, a bald guy, was following me in the store until the time that I stopped and I looked at him and was like, what is going on? Why are you following me? And he's like, let me do something. This is my card. And he gave me a business card. And he says, like, my name is so-so. I am a hairstylist and my specialty is in curly hair. I would
Yeah.
like to talk to you about your hair.
There
And my
is
mom
a
was like,
God.
I was like, this? He want to talk to me about this? He will try to sell me something, right? Actually, he was not trying to sell. He was trying to buy my hair. That was the plan. So he told me that
What does
if
he
I
do with
want,
the hair? Did he sell it?
this just
Extensions or what?
that look how interesting is that. So he said that I want to make a deal with you. For 1 year, your hair will be mine. I will do everything that I want in your hair, and you're gonna come for pictures. So I will sculpt your hair. I will provide all the products, all the leave-ins and everything else, but your hair is
Dude,
mine. And it's,
you were
yeah,
really lucky. The money we spent, the hair product is insane. You were so lucky.
but you know what happened? I wasn't happy. So when he said that, I
Why
was
he
like,
was not
sure.
good?
No, he was amazing. I was not interested to have the work to be sculpting and doing this. So in that same day, he brought me to the back of this really bougie store in Boca Raton. And there was a saloon, and it's like, we're going to start the whole thing now. For 1 year, you will not spend money with any product. I'm going to make your hair look unbelievable, but you cannot do anything without me saying that you can. Like, all right, whatever, let's do it. So he cut my hair with my hair dry, just flipping the curls and doing stuff like that. And he literally did amazing. My hair was like, my God, this is amazing.
How
This
often did you
was
have to go for a checkup?
that was the problem because he did that in the morning. I decided to do everything that I was used to. So I went to teach a class, whatever. And I remember that he washed my hair and he put some products over there and he dried my hair first. And then he started to set the curls and he's splitting and doing stuff like that. And he came with a powder and it molted everything in sculpt. And now my hair was done. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I went to teach a class. After the class, I had one curl that came in here, the other one was there. So I had a party to go in the evening, and I put my head in a hat. So that was Friday. I came back on Saturday to complain with the guy. The guy wasn't there. He only come back on Monday. So I spent the whole weekend with my hair inside
In
of
a
a
hat.
hat, you know, and I went there on Monday, like I want to kill him. I was like, what the hell you did with my hair? You totally different. Like it's not even regular. I can do this. And he's just like, your hair is mine. We made a deal. I want your hair to look like this, but you need the time. You're gonna take around an hour per day to do the whole process. I already gave you the product. And I was like, that's not happening. I can't spend 1 hour
That's a big
sculpting my hair.
commitment.
right? And to go teach a class. So after class, my hair will be a mess. And I was like, no. So I fought with the guy. And I came home and I cut my hair. So bad, so stubborn, but that's fun, right? So
And you never went back to see the guy.
I did. I did a couple times because he worked there. And I went there once, couple weeks later, to buy the product that he
Okay.
explained to me everything about it. So I went there, like we say in Brazil, with my tail between my legs. I was like, hey, how are you? And he looked at to me and he's like, look the hair. I was like, right. So you told me about the living. My living is over. And what you suggest me. So as much as I broke the whole thing, he was explaining to me the product because he worked in that store and that's his job, right? So he was explaining. So I can tell you that as much as I didn't have the patience to be doing everything that he did so amazingly, I did learn how to take care of my hair right in the beginning because that guy was a blessing in my journey. So he explained to me about this brand of products and how to do this and how to do that. And
Wait,
since
you
then,
still use the same brand?
I do. I do still use them,
Should we
and
mention the brand? Should we
we
give a
can.
plug in? Go for it.
Sure. Is Diva Curls. Diva
Diva
Curls is
Curls.
the name of the product. So what I love that I still use it, I use the shampoo low pull and the conditioner low pull. There is no bubbles on it. The smell is good, but it's not really strong. It's not like most of the products for curly hair. They smell like pineapple or coconut. I don't like none
Papaya.
of those. Papaya, right? And I was like, I don't like those things. It is kind of plain, but a good, fresh, clean smell. And after I wash my hair with that, I put the low fixation gel. I put in my hair, I squeeze my hair, and I forget about let the hair dry. When the hair is completely dry, I just do this. So the effect of the gel
Break it.
disappear and the curls grew. So all the time that anybody see me, my hair looks good, it's because I'm using those products.
And
But
do
that
you
has to
order
be at
them online now?
I know I actually go to stores. You can find
Oh,
at
okay. It's everywhere.
Sephora. Yeah, you can find at Sephora, couple Target. You can find they are not the cheapest products. They are a little bit higher
They're never
price,
cheap.
but correct. And that's what I tell everybody when they talk about, oh my God, your hair is so beautiful. But I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's like most of the people have to take care of it. I was like, well, that's not the right way to do. This is a creature that has their own rights over here. If the weather change, your hair change, right? So you're gonna change the product and stuff like that.
It's
But
an
I do love my
investment.
hair.
It takes not only a lot of money, but a lot of time and a lot of
Mhm.
sacrifice. Like, if you're in a boat, you wouldn't jump in the sea and take a swim. It depends what you're going to do after the boat, or if you're going to have the time to style it
You have to
again.
be smart like me. You have to be smart like me. I always have in my bag a hat. We're gonna go to the beach. Oh, that's right. Take the picture now. It looks
Because guys
beautiful.
can get away
Yeah,
with that. You're a
that's
man,
it.
but women cannot
That's
get away.
it.
Well, I am lucky. I look good with a bun. So I
You
can
look
take a
amazing.
swim and then I can do my bun and I am good. But yeah, no,
You look amazing.
yeah, it does drastically influence our lives when we want to have our curls looking good. Yes, please do begin.
Let's
So can
actually have some fun of
you
it.
talk while you're doing the makeup or
Oh,
you've never done it
definitely.
before?
Oh no, I
Definitely.
did that.
You're a
I
pro.
actually, let me see, in 2017, before I moved from South Florida to Chicago, I was hired by a Zumba person that actually was used to be a Broadway producer. He hired me to do a one-man show. So I put together a show where people would see me changing from one outfit to the other, including doing the makeup on the stage. So that was my, how can I say that?
And you will
That
get
was
naked
a
on stage. They will see you
pretty
in
much
underwear changing.
kind of, yeah, underwear. I think people still, I think the secret's not get completely naked. I was like, yeah, let's just don't destroy the magic. And you know what was funny? He hired me for this, and I went to the place. I flew to there. I grabbed everything, and I got in the place to start the product. It was a church. There was a giant cross on stage, and I looked to the guy. I was like, "You want me changing and get ready over here in a church? Like,
In
dude,
front
they're
of
gonna be
people.
changing." You're right. And I was like,
Very daring.
I'm not sure if the people will be happy with that. And he's like, not a regular church. Over
Oh,
here, we don't
nice.
see things in a different way. Like, it's a skin, we all have it. And you are here not to be showing your body. You are here to
Show
show
the
your
art.
art. That's why I was like, all right, I will not lie to you. It was kind of weird. Like, when you are raised in a country like Brazil, that it is so much related to religions and so many expectations, right? Let me see how it is. Yeah,
So, which
that's happening.
religion did you grow up with?
It's a miscellaneous. So I like to it's a little bit of everything. When I was young, my family exposed me to Catholicism. So I went to the church for everything, for the I don't even remember how we say in English. All those
Dilo en español.
crisma, creo que se llama crisma, baptism. I did everything
Ajá.
that anybody.
La confirmación, el
La
bautismo,
confirma, ajá, todo. Ese de todo. So I went to all of that.
la
And
primera
after that,
comunión.
la primera comunión. Y tenía otra después de eso, que nosotros llamamos de crisma. No lo sé.
Okay.
I'm not sure how we say in English or in Spanish. So I went to that as well. And I was that funny kid that was always involved in art. All the time that he came with anything talking about, let's do something, talking about Jesus Christ, was like, let's put a play together. Let's do a play. And the people was like, why are you always doing like this? I was like, because that's a language. When you
What's
put
your
art
problem?
on it,
Why do you always want to act?
right? I was always like this. Like since I was little, I had that. So I had a girlfriend. I hope she sees that. She was my partner in crime. We were used to open the garage of my house and decorate and do plays of it. And I was like, my father was dead already. So I was probably like 12 years old, and she was my partner in this whole thing. She was
Oh,
always
wait.
there.
I didn't know your dad died when you were young. How old were you?
Oh, I was 11. So my
And
father passed away.
how?
I was 11 years old.
How?
He had cancer. So he had
For a long time?
pancreatic. No, no. It's interesting, the whole story, because my father was like the most vain man I met in my life. He was a handsome guy, really full of
Do you
himself.
look like him?
I do. I do. My mother always say that. Even the way I raise my kids, she says like it's so interesting that even who doesn't know that you are Willet's son, anybody that knows your father will say like, wow, he raised his kids like Willet. So so he was really vain, a lovely person, the
Oh, what do
father.
you mean by vain?
So he was someone that always takes care of himself. He liked to look handsome. He
He
knew
liked
that
the
he was handsome.
attention.
He loved it. He
But don't we
loved it.
all? What's the difference with
Correct.
you?
Oh no, I'm so similar to him that it's not even funny. My mother
We
always
are
say
vain. If we are in the performing world, we are vain.
correct, and I don't see that as a bad thing really. As much as
Yeah.
people judge and qualify that as a negative connotation, it's like, what do you mean? That you take care of yourself, that you see your values and you stabilize the price for your
I
work
mean,
and for
I
what.
would think that it's not that healthy if you are expecting, like, for example, your partner to be so good looking and like become like judgmental if they're not looking good and making others feel bad. Then on that side, then I can see how it can get out of hand.
It's about
Once it,
balance, right?
yes,
It's
correct. So how was
always
your
about
dad with
being.
your mom? Was he expecting her? Was he hard on her and expecting her to be gorgeous looking all the time?
She
Oh,
was
didn't
gorgeous.
need to try hard.
No,
She was
no, my
naturally
mom.
gorgeous. I love this story. Now I'm gonna need you to send me a picture of your parents. This is
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
I can do that. She is. Even now, I always tell her, call her my gostosa. Aí, tesão. But the ones that speak Portuguese, we understand that. I always say that. I remember my father always semi-naked in his speedos on the beach and stuff like that, and trying to get to my mother the biggest bathing suit ever, and she was still the sensation. She was, whatever she went, everybody was looking to her those curves. And I always say that I was like, yeah, mom, you were a piece of work. And it's like, well, that was your father. I was just a light beauty woman. I was like, all
So
right, let's thank you that
beautiful.
you didn't know. You didn't know that you were pretty. And you
Okay,
didn't use that.
so they detected his cancer when it was very advanced.
Correct. So my father was used to play volleyball and work in a company traveling. When my family is full of cancer stories, all right? Not only my father's side, but my mother's side as well.
All kinds
And
of cancer?
all kind of cancer. When he was playing volleyball, if I'm not wrong, and he didn't feel well, and they brought him to the hospital. And I remember my mother saying that he told her if he find out that he had cancer, he would finish everything. It was something like that,
What do you mean finish
and
everything?
he would not live with. He
Like he
would
will
finish his
kill
life.
himself? Did he do it?
Yeah, nope.
How?
But he didn't know. He died with cancer without knowing that he had. And I remember
Wait.
I
I'm
was
confused.
I know you, not only you, a lot of people was confused because he was in the hospital. They did all the exams. They find out what he had. They including find out like how advanced was the whole thing because it was already everywhere and nobody told him about it. In his mind, things would get better.
For
I'm
how
not
long?
sure.
For how long others knew?
1 year,
Oh.
1 year. So I
And who
remember
decided to keep this information from him? Your mom?
my mom, my
Oh,
mom, and
Jesus. I will kill my partner if they hide that information from me.
yeah, she hid it. But I understand. It's so interesting that when you are an
Maybe she
adult
knew
and
him,
you are,
obviously. Obviously, she made that decision because she knew who she was dealing with. And she knew that maybe he was get too paranoid and that he was going to kill himself, obviously, if he had said that
yeah, he
before.
told her. Yeah, he told her right in the beginning when they were still doing the exams. He told her, it's like, if I find out that it's cancer, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, now I
And
understand. Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
he lived
she
that
hid it.
last year very sickly. Was he very sick?
It was a really fast going down. I can say that. I remember I was 11 when he passed away. I was 11. And I remember that father that was extremely fun and adventures. Always, like my father was used to wake us up on Saturday morning at 5 a.m. Was like, get up, get up, get up. We're gonna eat that fish 4 hours away from here. And he put all the kids in the car and drive to us. So this was my father.
How many kids?
We were five. We are five, right? Three girls and two guys. When
You are in the middle or where?
So I am
The
so we
second
have
oldest.
the second youngest.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have Tina, my older sister, and Vivian, and Wilkir, and Viviani, and Fabio, and Karina. That's the series and the way things are there. And
So you
my
saw his
mother,
change from being very adventurous and ready to live life to he had no energy to do anything.
correct. But as a kid, you don't really embrace anything, right? It's kind of like, why he's acting like this? Why he's in bad mood? Why he's not throwing me in the air like he was used to do it? So it was hard for me, and I didn't make anything easy for him neither, because I remember refusing to be with him, to play with him, to interact with him, because was not all the time that he had a good mood, that he wanna be with us, especially me as a young child that was used to be thrown by him and do fun things. I was like, I don't want to be with him.
Because he was not fun
Actually,
anymore. And you
he
didn't know he
wasn't
was sick,
fun.
so you couldn't have compassion for him.
Correct. You know what is that's the side effect of the way everything was managed with all the love and respect that I have and understanding the reasons why it was the way it was. But my mother was so caring about us and so worried about the youngest to understand what was going on with my father that she made everybody understand that things will get better, at least the youngest. So I remember when
So
he fell,
she told you that things will get better.
yeah, I don't, I don't remember she saying that, but a couple of things you don't need to say it. You can make it happen, right? You can make people understand that that's the way it will be. And I believe that that's the way it was for us. So
That
she,
was the understanding that things in general will be okay or that your
Mhm.
dad will be better.
that my dad will be better.
Okay.
So I remember she telling us like, go spend some time with your dad. Your dad misses you. And I was like, why? When I go there, he doesn't play with
Such
me.
a kid.
He's in bad mood. Why would I do that? And she's like, because he's your father, you should be there. And I remember going and playing with her in a little bit when I asked him to do something and he didn't want to do because he wasn't feeling well. As a kid, I couldn't understand that. In my mind, is like, he doesn't want this. Why am I here? Let me go out and play with my friends. That would be more fun than be here
Of course, you
with
were a
this
kid.
plump old man. And I truly believe that if there was more dialogues about what he was going through and how we should be managed that, I probably would be able to do better than I did
So
as a young kid
do
trying
you
to
feel
figure it
like you
out.
have a little bit of regret? Like it makes you feel bad to remember that you didn't give so much love to your dad in his last year?
A lot. That's why I invest so much of my journey as a dance fitness instructor to work with seniors because whatever I couldn't offer to my father, I can offer to another people. It was
That
kind of like
makes
that.
so much sense because I've always wondered why Fabio, this amazing performer and dancer and choreographer, has always been into Zumba Gold. It has been something I've never been able to understand because since
Yeah.
the beginning, I just had an episode a couple of weeks ago with Mauricio Camargo. And when he was
Love
talking
that guy.
about his beginnings and how he was learning from all of you guys, you, Priscilla, Paula. And then he said, yeah, and Fabio used to teach so many Zumba Gold classes. And I'm like, wait, from the
I was the
beginning.
king of
Now it makes so much sense. It's like you're trying to make it up for what you were not
kind of.
able, for the grace you were not able to give to your dad. Have you spoken about
Yeah,
this to your mom?
I did. I did. And you know what is interesting? Today, as a father, as an adult, as independent, and understanding that a lot of times, with the best intentions, we make mistakes because we are humans, right? And in that process, we can do nothing but try to manage. And in many moments of our life, as a parent, we are moved by fear. And being moved by fear, nothing good will come up for that, right?
Many times, no, dude, as a woman, because she knew what was going to happen. She was going to end up being a
Mhm.
single mother.
All right.
As a woman, you live in fear 100%. When you go out to the
Correct.
streets, you're already making decisions thinking of how to keep yourself safe and now your kids safe. So obviously all her decisions were based on fear and trying to make things better. Yeah, no, I didn't ask you if you talked to her as far as like because she made a mistake. Obviously, we all make mistakes as parents, as you just said. We
Correct.
just do the best with what we have been given and taught and seen as while growing up, right? But
In a lot of
it
moments, we
allows you
reproduce,
to have some
right?
closure when you can talk about it, right? Or
I
not?
had, yeah, I think I'm 100% with you. Let me see, I moved to here, I was 28. Um, Yanko was already here. So was I threw an event celebrating 20 years as a dancer in South Florida. It was a show. And it's so interesting that when I put together that, because in my mind, like, I need to celebrate this. I did this on my own. I didn't have support from my family. I was the ugly, poor kid that was doing most of the things hiding because my family didn't embrace the possibility that I would not be a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer like everybody else, right? So I can say that was a lonely journey because I did have a lot of people that believed on me, like they gave me the support. But when I was probably 30 to 31, I threw this show, and by not coincidence, because I don't believe in coincidence, my mother came here to meet Yanko. And that was the first time my mother saw me performing.
No, but she knew
Uh,
you were already working on that. She just hadn't seen you.
she did, but she never went to anything else. I went against her desire. And as a father, I understand.
So
I
how did she
understand that
feel when she was looking at you performing? I'm sure it wasn't exciting because it wasn't her dream for you to become a performer. So
actually,
she was just
actually,
like, okay, well done.
actually was the opposite.
She liked it.
She cried. And that's a
Oh,
really important part of my journey. Helped me
but
to
she
heal,
felt
right?
proud of you.
She did. And she told me that. So my mother taught me how to be strong how to look in the direction and don't move away. Like I learned those things from her. Like she was the one that you want to do something, you make that something. Like things will come on your way. You jump those things. You keep focused and you're going to make it. And that was the same woman that when I told her, when she found out that I was performing, hiding, she beat the shit out of me because her son would not be a dancer.
She probably thought that that meant that you were going to be gay.
That's one of the things that she thought. And we had this dialogue, and she said that I not only was worried about your sexuality, but I was worried that you be involved in drugs, that you would be selling your body, that you would not make it, and will be that frustrated person. And it was so interesting because when she was telling me that, looking down, she could not even look into my eyes. And I said, like, how could I do not make it when I am your son? You taught me how to make it. Everything that I did, as much as you were against, they were based. And those underlines message that you sent it to me is like, suck it up and try harder. You got this, right? I remember my father coming to me a couple times because I wasn't that pretty boy like most of the kids in the neighborhood. I remember he came to me, he holding my shoulders, looking me in the eyes, and he says like, "You are beautiful. You are beautiful." And it was moments like that that I do repeat with my kids. Like I want to create that moment that my father looked me in the eyes and told me that because all the time that I was going through something that I wasn't selected because I didn't have this, I was looking to myself in the mirror and saying like, "You are beautiful."
Yeah, but there's no way you can make that effect happen in your kids now because it would require for you to never say that they are beautiful and then all of a sudden say it for it to make an impact like it did in your life.
Correct. It's the whole experience, right? That makes sense.
Yes,
Has
that
to
makes
be
you
the
appreciate
whole.
it. Exactly.
And
So,
I learned that
Mira,
from my
but when
father.
you say you keep repeating at least 5 times already that you were not a good looking kid.
So
Wait, I
like
want to
we have to like
understand. Is it compared to your siblings because they were good looking and you were the only one that good looking, or is it compared to the people in the city? Compared to what kind of beauty?
I think it's the whole package. My siblings, especially the girls, they were piece of work like Maria Brownie. They are all getting the attention. And my brother, he had a better body. I was always that skinny kid that
But
only
because
plays soccer.
your brother worked out, and that's why he got a big body, a good body, or not, or he was an athlete.
Do you know what the way I describe this is that my brother is probably 5 to 6 years older than me, if I'm not wrong. My brother had my father long, so he was able to learn how to drive. He was able to learn how to lift weights. He was able to learn a lot of things that a man normally learns from his father. I didn't have this opportunity, right? When my father passed away, I was 11, trying to figure it out how to live a life without a father and
So you
dealing
were
with the fact
comparing yourself to your brother who was 5 or 6 years older than you.
for
So
yeah,
obviously he was a man, and you were not
yeah,
nothing compared to that. You were just starting to be an adolescent.
right. I was that kid that I was not a pretty kid who always is smart,
Okay,
always
so
fucking
when did you become pretty or handsome
well. I'm
in your
still
eyes?
in my eyes. I'm gonna
Or in
tell you
your
what I
eyes,
feel.
do you still feel that you're not that you're still that not pretty boy?
That's a really deep question. How
I
can I
know.
describe that? This and and things that I learned in my journey is that everything starts with you recognizing, right? You recognize that your face doesn't look like that face, your body doesn't look like that body, but you recognize that you have things on you that maybe they don't. It was kind of like that. So it was working as a dancer and get most of no's than yes, but having mentors in my journey, they were kind of my father. So I can't say that I didn't have father because I had choreographers that came to me and says like, yeah, you don't have what they are looking for, but you have something that they don't. You embrace the technique. And I remember my first choreographer that I worked with is not here anymore. Se olvida assim. It was the guy that's interesting. I think it's worth it to talk about it. It was pre-carnival in Brazil. I had this girlfriend. We went together to the pre-carnival, and when we were there, I saw 15 beautiful black people walking, right? And they weren't clean, like they were together. Like when I
Because
say black,
in your city, there were not many black people?
no, that is. I am
Okay.
the one that is the fusion between Europeans, black, and native Indians. So I have from all my siblings, I believe that I have more of the white European than in my siblings. So
And how do you
as
know?
much
Did you do the DNA test?
I did. I
Okay,
did.
tell me about it. I did it too.
You did it. So
Yeah.
first we have to understand that in my mind I was one thing. All right. I already had everything set up in my mind.
I know. That's why I'm asking you if you have proof that you're all of this that you're telling me. Because it's
And when I went
surprising
there, I
when
was
we
like,
get the results.
yeah, I see myself, and that's a joke for a lot of my Afro-American friends, that I see myself as a black person. I do see myself as a black person. I
I
am
also thought I was
fascinated.
so sure that I had a lot of black in me because my dad looks like a light skinned black person and my hair is so curly. I was 100% sure I have
Yeah.
1% black. Okay, you tell me your
You want
percentage.
to me. You want to me. I find out that I believe that I have a 20% black.
Okay, that's
Most of
pretty
the
decent.
rest, yeah, most of the rest is European, white European.
Fair.
And I was like, that cannot be right. Wait a minute. I have been acting as a blacky person, making people laugh at me when I say like a black. Like I will not say that to anybody. When people ask me about it, I was like,
Identity crisis now.
no way.
You've been impersonating a black person.
Like, is that a joke? Is that a joke that's happening now? I was like,
No, but
no,
it's still 20% is still significant, I would say.
right?
Yeah.
And living in US and having this really unique culture of most of black and white people, right? That is so separate over here. I don't match with the stereotype of Afro-American person, and I don't match with the white European either. So it's a really
And you
interesting
have
way to
zero
see.
Latino.
I can say that I have a lot of influence of Spain. Uh,
Ah, okay. You didn't mention that because my results were, check this out, 45% Aborigine from Colombia.
I see that.
I'm
I see
Indian.
that.
Yes, now
Yeah.
you see it when I mention it, right? And when I have my hair straight, it does look more Aborigine. And then almost 40% from Spain. And then few percentages from, I don't know, Sardinia in Italy and like some random places there. But like pretty much half and half Aboriginal and Spain. Like I am the living story of the colonialism.
In my mind, when I look to myself in the mirror, now knowing that, I was like, this hair didn't come from Europe, all right? This hair comes from Africa, right?
Exactly.
But I see my nose that is everybody talk about that your nose is so thin. I was like, yeah, thanks to my father, because my father was white. His whole family is white, dark or blonde hair, blue eyes. I was like, why I didn't
Okay.
get the blue eyes then? I would be
Your
great.
siblings got the blue eyes?
Though I have my middle sister. She has a green eye that change colors sometimes. So she was always the sensation because she
Of
had
course.
that eyes and she's a smart ass. She always use it. She always use that.
Of course.
My other siblings, they have a lighter eye than me.
Okay.
Everybody, like more hazel. Like I'm like, why I could not have something more attractive over here in my eyes? Well, that's the way I am.
Okay, so let's go back to the question. When is it that you realize that you are handsome? Or have you not realized it yet?
I would not say handsome. I would say like I learned to recognize what I have and to use what I have. I am not a stereotype of beauty. I am not. Like not the commercial beauty, but I know that when
But
I
that's no
dance,
longer what we go by. Beauty is
correct,
so broad now. So you are
correct.
standard of beauty.
Yeah,
Well, in my
I
eyes, but I'm asking in your eyes. Okay. So
yeah,
to this point, you're still not good looking.
In my mind, it's like, I can make people look at me in many ways. I can go to a party, or wait a minute, nobody look at me. Next song, I'm going to be dancing and people will look at me. Or I let my hair free because everybody loves my hair, right? And all those things. I would start dancing, move my hair, and people will be like, what the hell? That hair.
I know you.
Nobody
Yeah.
has the hair like that. Yeah, it's so. I have in my journey so many people that struggle with confidence, right? Some of them feel attracted by my confidence. Some of them be offended because they see me as someone that is full of himself and stuff like that. And other people, they come to me and they believe that I can help them, right? And I was like, I'm not sure if I can help you, but I can tell you how things work for me. We can be looking for in things that you don't have and try to create something that you don't have there. Or you can look to what you have that is positive and that you can use it. So that's what I have been doing my whole life. I was like,
Because
yeah, I don't
that's
have.
the real definition of confidence is developing skills to the point that you know you're so good at it, which makes you feel confident in yourself.
You're gonna see people that will call you this, call you that, and says like, oh, he's so full of himself, whatever. Like, if the fact that I appreciate who I am, that I appreciate my journey, and that I'm proud of everything that I reach in my life, you can call me that. I am not an example of someone that really looking for people approval, because if that was the case, I would not be here. I had in my journey, no, you will not make it. You are not doing this. Oh, you're gonna be what? You're not even flexible. How can you be a dancer? All the dancers over here, they have mommy and daddy pay for everything. Who is paying for you? It was always like that. And one choreographer that I have, the first one, he says like, you don't have daddy and mommy that will pay for you. You don't have the stereotype that will open doors for you. But you can. If you swallow the technique, if you create the charisma, and if you learn how to connect with people, you will be successful. But first, you have to find the strength on you. This guy was the first choreographer I had the opportunity to work with. He passed away a couple years ago, and he's a father of a Zumba instructor that I met when I started dancing. I call him after meet this gorgeous group of black people and the pre-carnival in Brazil, and asking my friend, like, who are they? And she's like, they are from the Baquinaré, the Ballet of Cultura Negra in Brazil. Brazilian, black, Afro-Brazilian roots dance company. They are known in the whole world, right? And I was like, oh my God, they are beautiful. And they work together like they are a clan. That the whole image blew my mind. And I was like, I want to know them. I want to dance with them. And it's like, yeah, they are group dancers. I can get you a phone number from one of them.
Can it be because you saw yourself in them? You felt like you would belong to a tribe like that? Because you always thought that you had a lot of
Probably.
black in you?
Probably. Yeah.
You were
And I
looking
truly
for
believe that
your
was
community.
correct. And more than that, that kid that was used to dance in front of the TV saw the light in the end of the tunnel. Was like, this is it.
You
This
can do
is
this
it.
for a living.
I'm gonna know them, and I'm gonna be a dancer, and everything gonna make sense now. Now I will not be that kid dancing in front of the TV. I'm gonna be part of that, and that's it. So that night was over. I came back home. Paul, the number that she got from me was one of the dancers, and I told him like, I'm a dancer and I want to be part of the company. And he's like, I'm just a dancer here. You're gonna need to talk to Senhor Birassi. I was like, how do I talk to him? And he's like, I'm gonna give you another number. So I called the other number, and Silviracio answered the phone. I was like, my name is Fabio. I'm a dancer, and I want to be part of your company. And he's like, okay. So we have a rehearsal this Wednesday. Come to the rehearsal. Fabio, hiding from everybody, got himself in two buses, make to the place to my first experience as a dancer, right? I got there, and I remember knocking the door, and the guy opened the door, and I was like, it's me, Fabio. And it's like, Fabio from where? I was like, I used to say Obirasi, and it's like, yes, it's like, you were the kid that talked to me by phone. It was like, right. And I will never forget. He looked at me from the top to the bottom. I was 14, right? And he says like, and you told me that you are a dancer. And I was like, correct. And he's like, with who you dance with? Tell me about your background. And I was like, what the hell am I going to say now? Because I don't have it, right? So I look at him, I was like, I danced him home, and I could see a little smile in his face, but he
Of
didn't smile.
course.
Right? He didn't smile,
I bet
but
his heart
he
smiled.
correct. And she's like, "Oh, okay. So, what is your background? What is your good on it?" And I was like, "I can do anything." And he's like, "Okay. So this is what we're gonna move forward. There is a rehearsal. You're gonna be part of the rehearsal. You're gonna be all the way in the back and try to get everything that they are doing. And at the end of the night, we're gonna talk." And in my mind, Maria, that's it. I'm gonna blow this guy's mind because I'm good, right? They start
Wow,
dancing.
you were confident.
Since that moment, like there was a call in my mind. It was like, this is a call. I'm making
Oh,
it.
please tell
Yeah.
me that you did good.
I sat. I sat. After 15 minutes, I was so embarrassed because in my mind, I could repeat everything that I could see on the TV. I have an aunt that always is like, "Oh my God, you're a dancer." And in my mind, like, I can do anything. And over there, I find out that I couldn't. I couldn't get those choreographies. I couldn't. And I was, but something that I learned probably being a son of my mother and my father, when show must go on. If you are not going back with your tail between your legs and playing the victim, right? So I did until the end. But when the whole thing was over and I saw the dancers saying bye to Sylvia C and blah, 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 I was there in the line to do the thing. And he looked at me and he's like, "How was it, dancer?" And I look at him, I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I want to say thank you for the opportunity. And I hope one day to be able to see you guys performing. It will be a pleasure." And he looked at me and he's like, "Are you done?" And I was like, "What do you mean I'm done?" And he's like, "Are you done?" I was like, "I'm not good." And I remember looking down, saying like, "I'm not good," like I thought I was. And he grabbed me by my cheek, put my head up, and he's like, "I want you to wake up the same guy that came here that was bold to tell me that everything that he learned was in front of the TV. I want you to wake up that kid because I don't want to deal with this one that I'm facing now. I want that one." And I was looking at him like I could not even think about that other kid anymore. I was done. I could see that I wasn't good, really, to work with those people. And he says, like, "Do you want to be a dancer?" I was like, "Mm-hmm." And he's like, "I didn't hear you. Do you want to be a dancer?" I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Come back on Friday." I was like, "For what?" And he's like, "Do you want to be a dancer or what?" I was like, "Okay, Friday, same time, come here." I came to Friday, like, thinking, like, trying to convince myself that do not create expectations, Fabio. Do not create expectations. You suck. And when I got there, he looked at me and he says, like, "Can you take it off your shirt?" And like skinny 14 years old kid, like with the chest in, right? And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Take it off your shirt." And I took it off my shirt. And he's like, "Open your arms. Can you open your legs? Can you put your legs up?" And I was like, "I'm not flexible." It's like, "I just asked you to put your legs up." And I did. And he's like, "You are skinny with a short torso, long arms, and long legs, like African slaves. You are in the right place. I want you
Oh,
dancing." And that guy put me to do my first performance. So, like, just a quick review. I came to meet them on Wednesday. I came back on Friday. On Sunday, I was doing my first performance ever. It put
that
me
quick.
right that quick. It put me in the front of the whole thing. My job was to be a bird. So I was doing movements like this, and the how we say in English, the not periodic, how we call the newspaper took a picture of that performance.
So
Who
your
was in the
mom saw
front?
you at the
Because
newspaper.
her friend saw me in the picture and brought to my mother. And she's like, "I didn't know that Fabinho was performing." "What do you mean?" It's like, Fabinho's performing. Fabinho's a dancer. It's like, "Not my Fabinho." That was the way my mother found out. And
That's
I
when
came
she
back home.
started telling
So,
you that you needed to quit.
right. So actually, she beat the shit of me when I came back home.
Of course,
And,
as a good
and she told me
Latino
that
mother would do.
correct. And I remember walking in, she was waiting for me, sitting on the couch with that thing. By a second, I couldn't recognize. That wasn't me. Everything's so new. When I understood that was me, it was like, Mike. And it's so interesting. I'm so her son that when I understood what was coming on my way, the first thing that I did was this. I was like, "Well, you did, now you embrace it. Right? I think we'll be nasty." And she's like, "So what is this?" I was like, "I'm a dancer." She laughed. She
Legit
laughed.
one now.
Yeah. In my mind, I was, that's it. I'm the new Mikhail Badisnikov, right?
Yes.
And she said like, you are one a dancer. It's like, a dancer? Who are they? Where you are going? Is that why you were getting out so late? I thought you are doing something related to school. That's what you told me. I was like, because if I tell you that I'm doing this, it would be nasty. And
But
you
wait,
will
this
try to quit.
academy, they never charged you for anything. They sponsored you.
They did. This guy was my first father in the dance world. I remember I already worked with him for a while, and he came to me once, and he's like, "Do you want to bring someone to see the next show? Because all the dancers bring someone." And I was like, "No." So after many shows, and there was nobody that I ever brought, one day he says, like, when the whole rehearsal was over, and we always learned how to respect him. Like, he was that person that you can't leave without saying bye. I went to say bye to him, and it's like, you stay. We're gonna talk. And he came to me and he's like, tell me about you. You are here working with me, and I don't even know enough about you. Tell me about you. I was like, well, I'm from Olinda. And he's like, so you come from far away? I was like, yeah. And he's like, what is your support system? I was like, what is that?
What?
What is it? And he's like, who take care of you? Who raised you? Who was like, my mother? And he's like, what is she? And I was like, all right, so my mother's not happy with me here. I'm doing this because I want to. And that's the way it is. That's why nobody comes, because I have nobody. And he says, like, what is your father? And I told him my father died a couple of years ago. And he's like, tell me more about your father. And I remember telling him the whole thing about my father, always with that posture, because I learned that from my mother and from my father, right? And he came to me and he's like, you have a father here. I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, you have a father here. I can tell you that today I look at you in a different way. I was like, oh, thank you. But, as a kid, you don't really embrace and understand things really well.
You don't
And my
understand the
mom was like,
magnitude.
exactly. He said something to me one day because I couldn't bond with the crowd, with the group. Like, there was no space for me.
With the
I
dancers?
wasn't with the dancers. I couldn't. And I understand why, because that was a traditional Afro-Brazilian dance company. They were used to call me albino because I wasn't dark enough. So all the time that there was a show, I had to spend a couple hours in the sun and put a specific type of oil that would get me darker,
To
not
fry
redder,
you.
to fry. So I remember all the time that I had to do that. So I couldn't bond. And I believe that in that time, the dancers, they could see that there was a connection between Seobirasi and me. So I don't think that they were happy. But anyway, because I never bond, he was always doing like, hey, come in here, come in here, sit down here with me. You wanna learn this? And I remember, because I was always hungry to learn more, to go to him and says like, I want to dance that for you. And he's like, why? I was like, because I want to. And he's like, that choreo, it's from people that belongs to the religion. Are you interested? And I was like, no, I'm here to dance. I don't
And
want to
what
be
was the
part of the
religion?
religion. It's a candomblé. It's kind of like the Brazilian voodoo, let's say that, in a good way,
Okay.
not in a bad way, but it was
Yeah, yeah. The
Afro-Brazilian.
original one.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm here as a dancer. I
I'm
love
a
to learn
Catholic.
more about it. Yeah. In that time, before my father died, we were visiting a spiritism center because someone told my mother that she could do a couple things to keep my father alive. So all those dialogues came after, later on, right? My father is not here anymore. But why we were shifting from the Catholicism to the Spiritism, and I kind of like saw myself and recognized myself much more, believing in so many other things than just the whatever the church was telling me. I was always that kid that had my point of view, never hesitate to say what I thought, because as much as my mother argued with me so many times about why you don't embrace it, what I'm telling you. And later on, I told her, like, because I'm your son. I learned that from you. I learned that from my father. My father's family was racist. My father was racist. But my father never. My
So your
father
mom
couldn't.
was not dark skin,
My mother is darker than me. My father is
and
white,
her
was
hair is
white.
very curly like yours, or
No,
curlier?
my mother's hair was kind of like a native Indian, like Indian,
Oh,
like
wow.
really heavy, thicker.
Okay.
My older sister is like that. My middle sister is like that. My younger sister is the hair exactly like mine, but super long. And my brother had the kinky hair from black, right? So I was the one that was not one, not the other. And I remember my father said that I was beautiful. And so did I see one day when I was struggling because I wasn't bonding with the group. And one of the guys came into me and he says like, we're still asking why you are here. You are not even pretty, all black. And he saw that and he came to me
The dance
afterwards, not
world is
on the,
so harsh on people.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And can I tell you, I'm rushed too. People that work with me, they will see a lot of signs of everything when I came from. So Sylvie came to me in that day, and at the end of the whole rehearsal, when I went there to say bye to him, and he looked at me, he held me in the arms exactly the same way my father did to me. And he said, like, you are beautiful. And in that moment, I felt like I belong here. Maybe
Even
I'm
though
not
you
connected.
didn't.
Correct. I was like in my mind because doing the whole thing, I was like just as a strategic person because I'm that person since a little. I was like, I want something. I will make that something happen. So I was there struggling to do not bond with anybody, but I was creating the background that I needed to be able to be a dancer. I knew that since the beginning. And so be let's see, when he told me that, that was everything that I needed, really, because I was like, that's it. I don't need them to be nice to me. I'm here to learn. I will
And
be
for how
exposed.
long did you dance with that company?
I worked with them for probably 4 years first, and then I left because I was always starving for more. As an artist living in a third world country, if you want to make and create a career, you have to understand that you cannot be good all in one thing. And in my mind was like, I'm doing this here. I love it. And I really do love everything that has drums involved. That touched me in such a special way. But I was like, I don't want to just stay here. I will be that dancer that does everything. Because I'm not pretty. I don't have the body, but I will offer something that nobody does. So in that,
So
after
that's the
4 years,
advantage of not feeling pretty, the
correct.
byproduct. Love it.
Correct.
Thank
And
God you
it
were
was,
not pretty.
that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel because if I was pretty, I probably will find one place and stay there. Right. And my goal was never that. So from there, I start to work with the Brazilian popular dancers and the folk dancers. Love it. And the choreographer over there, he came to me to say that your musicality is incredible. You can repeat movements like this, but you know something that you definitely need to work. You need to be more flexible and you need to correct your posture because as a young, skinny guy, your chest is in, your shoulders are forward. We have to correct that. You have to do ballet. And I was like, how am I going to do ballet? I have no money to pay for anything. And he's like, you are good enough. I'm going to introduce you to someone. And that person will be your mother. I remember he's saying, and he introduced me to Carol Lemos. So she had the biggest ballet dance company in school in my state. She's
And she
known in the whole.
adopted you.
It was interesting because I remember walking in. This guy told her about me, and when I was walking in, she had a smile like this big, right? So I walk in, and she's like, and he's like, "This is Fabio." And she's like, "My God, it's skinny, long arms, long legs. Can you imagine that leg over here?" Everybody would be crazy. It was like, "Don't get excited.
And you're
That leg,
like,
that is
no,
going."
I'm not flexible. No, abort, abort.
I was like, that would be nasty. So he says like, she's like, let's see how he does. And he's like, he's good. You have to be patient. I remember he talking to her about it. He's like, in my mind, like, why is he patient? What are you talking about? He's like, you have to be patient with him, but you will be able to shape this kid. He doesn't have a lot of background, but he is like, he makes things work and blah, blah, blah. And I remember he talking to her about those things.
So they
And
sponsored you?
she did. She put me to take a class in intermediate because he told her so well about how good was my musicality. She put me in intermediate. And then she saw that my posture sucked, lines were bad, and I was just bad. So I had a nickname when I was working with her. She called me horrible. Horrible.
God,
Come in
the
here.
dance world is so traumatizing. Jesus.
All right. So she came, she
Are
put
we
me in
gonna see you
intermediate.
changing clothes too?
Oh, I didn't
The
bring
whole
it
act?
close. I didn't bring it close. I think I will destroy my career because I don't have the body that I had when I was living in Florida. Let's say that. So she put me to take a class with the intermediate, and really soon she found out that I sucked. So she moved me to the beginner with the kids. So I was taking the class with the 9 to 12 years old child, kids over there, and
Yeah,
they
the
were making
foundation of
fun
ballet.
of, like, yeah, that's what she said. She said, like, you are wrong. Create a background on you. And I remember she saying, like, the only way you're gonna make it is when you observe everything that you don't have to offer. I was like, what that mean? And she's like, you have a long way, sir. You have a long way. I worked with her for 7 years. That woman was always, I left the place. She said, you're the prettiest, ugly dancer I ever had. I was like, is that a compliment? Is that a compliment? And she's like, yeah, take it, because it's a compliment. And there was another dancer there that she said, like, yeah, coming from Carol, it's a compliment. You take it. And she said exactly what you said. That was a blessing that I didn't have the
The look.
stereotype that
Yeah.
could tell me like this, because she said, like, nobody's gonna take your job away from
And
you.
it appears you didn't have the natural skills either. You just had drive.
I had the drive. I had the drive. And
Uh,
this is something that anybody that knows me knows that
so
I like to say that I raised myself, right? As much as I had those important pieces in my journey that saw on me the possibility to build something, to be something, and they were there to remind me something that I already had since the beginning. Because as much as my family says, like, you will never make it, you will never make it. I had on me is like, no, I will. No, I will. When I see people that, by any chance, when someone comes and says, like, no, you are not exactly what we are looking for. You can't work over here because you are not what we are looking for. They break. That never happened to me.
is it because you wanted it so bad? You wanted to become that? Or because you knew you had it in you?
I In my mind is that I believe on me. My mother, my father, and all those people that I met in my journey, they learned. I learned from them that whatever I need, I had on me. And as much as I didn't have this or I didn't have that, I can work for it, or I can recognize what I have and build a career based in my good qualities. So I was never. I got myself in a place where I was lifting girls and doing like flips with the girls and stuff like that. I did because in reality it's a technique, right? When you learn the technique, nothing gonna go wrong. You are just repeating. But something that all those choreographers made me understand really soon is that anybody can learn the technique. What you need is to offer something extra. When you are part of a ballet company and you have 25 girls, they all look alike. But the only one that will be a prima ballerina is the one that comes with extra. It's not only the technique. So as much as the technique can get you there, what's gonna keep you there is that extra. And all
That's
of
so
them says
interesting
like,
because it's the programming you have since you were little that you needed to come up with something unique. Then now it makes sense to see you
correct.
coming up with so many unique things. On my side, I am trained in synchronized swimming, and we are supposed to look exactly the same. Exactly the
Mhm.
same. Nobody should ever stand out. So it's like the opposite. It's like, do not create uniqueness because you need to look just like this, breathe like this, walk like this, same with everybody else. But on the other side, it taught me to work with a team, which is the greatest lesson and the biggest programming I have in me. Wherever I go in life, I just find a team and I know how to work excellent and build teams. I'm not interested in shining on my own. That's just not my gig. I'm like why? No, zero motivation. Like, no, on my own. Like, and what are you going to enjoy it with? When you can have a
That is
team,
just
you
one
work
day.
with a
Yeah,
team, you celebrate everything with a team. So it's the opposite, but you're used to the other programming because it was so toxic that they were telling you the whole time that you needed to develop something unique.
correct. So
So,
that's
what do
why
you think
everything
was the thing that you developed that made you unique?
recognized that I was a beginner in most of the things, right? I'm a beginner here. I'm a beginner here. I'm a beginner here. And it was not all the time like this, all right? Because I was the soloist for a couple companies that I worked for. So the whole process of to build your ego to be big enough to get all those notes and do not break, that's the thing. the dance world, the entertainment world is like that, right? You have to have
Yeah.
a strong personality to be able to survive those things, right? So that was me really well to the point that when I was going to any auditions, because I went to so many, by the way people look at me, I could see it's like I got this. And walking in, I was like, oh my God, look, that guy's so big. Oh my God, she's so beautiful. Oh, they will not take me. And I saw the bancada. I don't know how we call it in English or Spanish. The people that were selecting, they were looking at me. I was like, that's it. Maybe I have what they are looking. So that's it. Let's bring it. We're gonna do this. And in that process, most of the time when I could read people, I was able to say like, I got this. This is mine. And so I built my career being a sponge, sucking everything. So all the time that I was taking class, ballet, I was there in the bar doing everything. I was like, but if I was a girl, how would I be doing? Because in my mind is that one day I will be teaching. And to be able to teach, I have to be the man, know the male technique and the female technique as well. And everything that I did, and plus I had that, I did compete with that guy. He's an amazing ballet. He's flexible. Everything is perfect. But ballet will be the step for the next. It was always like that. So
And
I
what
did
made you
Afro
think that
Brazilian.
one day you were going to be teaching?
I always had that on me. My mother is a teacher. My grandma was a teacher. So, and I was always fascinated to be sharing things. So in my journey, I knew that I would be a teacher to the point that I am a former history teacher. Most of my career,
Yeah, I saw that you have a bachelor's degree in history and arts.
this was just the way it was for me. I was always relating to teach. As much as I'm really proud of my career as a dancer, as much as right now I'm more behind the scene, right? I do one thing here or there, but it's not really what moves me. But I love the heck to be teaching. I love to
But
see.
did you love teaching history or you love teaching dance or
But I
anything?
believe that everything comes together. I believe that everything comes together. So all those years presenting at the Zumba convention, something that I have been fighting with everybody that not only come to the session, but anybody that hire me. I was like, yeah, do you want to learn to dance? You have to learn the background as well. We are representing someone else's culture. You cannot just learn the movement. Like when you learn the background, the movements make sense. So I always, there will be moments that we're going to be talking about this movement, this rhythm comes from that area. And we didn't like this because of that. And I believe that that's the minimum that any dancer, performer, or instructor needs to know is that where that thing comes from. Even when I'm teaching Zumba trainings, right? And we are breaking
Is
down.
there anything in life that you have been so driven to accomplish, same as all this story that you've been sharing with me? Or this has been part of your life, has been the one that you were the most driven?
Probably because I didn't have my father with me for a really long time. I always dreamed to be a father, always. So that was something that when I was 21, I had my first child, Johnny. And I tell everybody, including herself, that she is the biggest artist I met in life is my daughter, right? Because she's a sponge. She can do anything, really, anything.
And she's an amazing dancer.
She
Man, she
is.
moves so gorgeous.
She's just a sponge. Like you teach her something completely different than anything that she studied, she will do like this. And I was like, how can that? Because she's the best of me and the best of her mother, right? So I want to be a father badly, and I'm proud and embracing this journey because I have four, right? But I dream to live in a different country where I would build a career based in my talent. And I am extremely proud that that guy that 18 years ago walked into the airport, like looking everything's like, what the hell are you doing, sir? I made it, you know. I came here in
And you came to
2005.
this country with a performer's visa, right?
Correct, correct. So I came in 2005 to perform in a conference in Miami representing Brazil. So someone saw me performing and invited me to do this, and I came, and that was my first visa. Was 10 days experience, but I left the US already with the proposal to come back. When I came back to work with this person that was supposed to give me business visa and everything, and I find out that was just blah blah. I had to do everything that most of the immigrants do over here. Clean house. I tried to work in a construction, didn't work well. And I did a bunch of things over here, right? Until the day when I was working as a housekeeper in a hotel. My manager, he came to me because I was cleaning and a song was playing and I was dancing and he came to me asking, "Are you a dancer?" I didn't know that in US, when you say that you are a dancer, you are kind of like a stripper, right? And I told him like, yeah. So that guy brought me to a nightclub. And in my mind, I was so excited when this is happening. I'm gonna work as a dancer in a nightclub. And I walked in and I saw people taking off clothes and stuff like that. I was like, but this is not the kind of place that I was looking forward, right? So when I got over there without almost no English, I'm trying to tell him like that I was a dancer, but not like that. And he understood that I was a performer, not a dancer like a stripper and stuff like that. Not that I have anything against, all right, but nobody
Yeah.
would pay to make me just see me taking off my clothes. I can compete with those guys, right? So it was interesting because that guy taught me that. He's like, so from now on, you will not say that you are a dancer. You're gonna say that you are a performer. You're gonna show something. And he did help me to find my first gigs over here doing this, doing a male belly dancer, because that was a sensation in all those gay nightclubs.
And you already
Everybody was,
knew how to belly dance?
I did. I start belly dancing in Brazil. Let me see. Almost 31 years I have been dancing. So I would say like at least 23 years ago, I was already doing
Okay.
dance and
And you
that is studying
created the
belly dance.
Sultan back then?
Yeah, my conception, all the time that I saw couple male belly dancers, I saw them doing something a little bit more feminine. And in my mind, it was like, yeah, they are great, but that's not me. I want to be doing something that as much as a traditional dance performed by women, I want to be a man doing this. And that will be my thing.
Especially
And
because,
so
as you just explained, when you dance something, you need to know the history of that dance so that you can represent it correctly. And if you are a man and you are pretending to be a sultan, these
it's
people
the
in
closest
in
I can get
Saudi
to the whole thing.
Arabia are not gonna move in a feminine way. They are the most
Correct.
macho
I would
guys.
limitate, yeah, I would limitate my possibility. In my mind was always I'm a businessman, right? So everything in my mind was like, okay, we're gonna do this. This is the way we're gonna do. I have to reach here first to be able to jump to there, and then I'm gonna climb this. In my life was always like this, and
Strategy.
so I learned extra always. So in my mind it was like, if I wanna be respected and I have to offer something different always. So
So you created
to
this
me,
character.
I create this character. So since my first costume, I had a turban. I had something in the middle because I'm a makeup stylist. So to impress people with my makeup, that's easy.
Yes,
And
look
what
at that.
was
It's
performed,
gorgeous.
thank you so much. It was performing that I could see, and people came to me to say like, "Are you Arabic? Are you Lebanese? Are you
Yes,
Turkey?"
you do
So
look
I
like
could
that
see
with the
that I had
makeup.
the whole. I was like, "That's it. That's it. I got it. My body fits in something. Fits in something.
Score!
I will be the Sultan."
Finally.
So yeah. So when I was in Florida, I create twice this show.
So listen, listen. If the Sultan were to have a personality and a life, what life does this Sultan that you impersonate live?
Oh wow, that's it. Because I have a lot of people that say that it is my, how we say in psychology, is my alter ego, my
Alter ego.
dream to have a harem of women around me, right? Knowing the whole story behind of the life of a man that has different women, he is someone that each woman represents something for him, right? That is the woman that give birth to their kids. That is the woman that is the one that take care of cooking. There is the other woman that is the one that satisfies him sexually. There is the woman that is the man, the, how can I say, the queen that runs this all the others. But something that for me have been present in my life is that I will be I'll be the man that will recognize, appreciate, support who I have with me. So that's the kind of sultan. As much as people came to my shows and saw me with 6, 7 women around me and everybody dancing to please me, when I was creating each one of those women figure, I had the mind based in what I saw on that. Like that was this gorgeous friend of mine. She's not here with us anymore. She was one of the first belly dancers that I worked with in South Florida. She was always like water for me. For me, things are so raw, like elements, right? So when I saw her dancing, she was like water. She was fluid. She was not that woman that would be able to seduce someone. That was not her element. But when she was dancing, she was
So which
introspective.
element do you think will be the one that seduces?
The fire one,
Okay.
the one that is fire. And I had that. I had that woman that was my partner in many shows. And I remember when I invite this girl that was water to be part of it, and she's like, I can't perform with her. Look at her. She's so hot. She's so big. Everything's so big. I was like, but that's her element. She does
Okay,
great that.
but I have not seen your performance as a sultan. I've seen
Never.
short video clips. I
Uh-huh.
saw that in the past convention, you had other men performing with you on the
Correct.
stage. This is the second year you do this session, right? Zumba
No, that
convention.
was actually my first year.
The
This
first
year
year.
was my
Okay.
first year. Yeah.
Is there a reason in particular? Because then I'm going to tell you my take when I saw you dancing with men. But is there a
Uh-huh.
reason in particular why you chose to dance with men instead of dancing with women? As you have mentioned that in the past you had women partnering doing the show with you for the Sultan.
Forward. Yeah, that was pure marketing. In my mind, is like we have been having so many sessions at the Zumba convention with gorgeous female dancers, right? And they are great. I'm coming this year doing something. I am a man. As someone that has been producing things, let's break the mold. Let's put all guys on stage. And we're going to be walking around before we walk to our session. And even people that cannot make it, they already will be mesmerized by that image of a bunch of guys that are belly dancers. When we finished the session, we went to the main lobby to record a couple videos. And
Yeah,
my
I saw
goal
that.
was like, let's make everybody see that. I think that's the blessing of being working in entertainment for so long is that that is a kind of like a formula. When you understand what the crowd is hungry for, you offer that. There is no way we go wrong.
So let me share my take and then ask you a question. I thought, oh, I know that Fabio is so legit with each of the dances that you get in true character, that you represent the culture. But in my head, I thought, well, that it makes sense that men in that part of the world that we cannot comprehend their mentality, Fabio is getting in that mentality and he knows that men are dancing in a very not in a sensual way, not to attract women, not to flirt with women, but actually men on that side of the world don't even acknowledge that we exist. When I
Correct.
am traveling in those countries, I have never felt as if I am invisible there in my life. Until I get to Kuwait, Qatar, Dubai, like you simply don't exist. So I'm thinking you're getting in that character on the stage. You're performing, but you really are not there to connect with the crowd because it's a bunch of women and they're not even covering their hair. So is that the mentality, or you're still because in Zumba we're used to all the guys on the stage, yay, and they're like yeah, shaking the booty and acting sexy, and yeah, you celebrate that. So you talk to your team and you wanted to switch that so that you look more legit as the real deal culture, or how did you handle that?
In my mind was a product.
Okay.
And like most of the things that I do, I don't do for once, right? When I create this, the Night of Salt, that's the name of the show that I did a couple times in South Florida. I made it the first, thinking about the second and the third. I believe that everything is about a journey, it's about a story, right? It's not only this is I settled and that's it. No, this little thing comes with a different possibility. When I create this session, um, when the whole idea of this session came, I was thinking about this is the first product that I'm selling. I want everybody looking and talking about. I'm gonna put a bunch of male guys, male belly dancers on the stage. I will bring women to dance with us, but in this first moment, I want them face that we are breaking the mold here. I wanna create, send a message that all the guys that always took belly dance classes by a women that they are welcome here. So that's my first message. This is for all of us. And plus, that is a product here, right? We are selling guys doing belly dance on stage. That is a strong product. If next year I am back, people will see different other elements. So that was my conception.
So next year, are you coming back with the men?
If I come back, right, if they bring me back, I still gonna have a lot of elements that we saw over here this year, but I wanna be providing different realities. It's so interesting that this session, I had someone coming to talk about what was the statement I was making, and what the person accused me to be was not my statement. I was not talking about what is happening in the Palestine and Israel. And she's like, "Is that your statement?" And I asked her, like, "Why you were thinking that? What is the point?" So it's just a better picture of that. We just see what we can see, right? Sometimes you are doing something.
We're programmed to see.
That's it. You said everything. Like when you see a Zumba dancer, semi-naked, just with the glitter in her body, and that huge headpiece in the head, and she's doing Zumba, someone gonna look at her and says like, "Oh, she's there just showing her body." Someone will just look to her body, and someone like me, I will be enjoying the fact that she's reproducing the culture where I come from.
Yes,
and
it's
that
like it recently happened that there was a post of a Brazilian Zen member or Zumba instructor that's teaching class wearing a little tiny Speedo thing.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw that post that everybody was going crazy about it. So then when they sent it to me, I'm like, "It's Brazilian and he lives in Brazil. What else are you expecting? It's the normal culture there."
I learned as being a history teacher and as being someone that work in entertainment that I am nobody to be judging anybody's culture, right? So if I am doing something related to the Middle East, I understand how not only the men think, but the way the women think, the way they dress, the way they act and react. And I know women, they changing the reality. And I know a lot of women that is actually completely comfortable to be covering themselves, right? And it was teaching a belly dance workshop, being questioned by someone that covered herself. She asked me about you as a history teacher, as someone that is representing my culture. How do you see this, right? And
Did you ask her? Did you ask her how did she see it?
She asked me, and I was like, it's really important for you to see, to know what I think. And she's like, yeah. And I told her, like, I respect whatever you embrace. I am an outsider that is fascinated by your culture.
You should have asked her what she saw.
I did. I did ask her, I was like, so did you see anything in this session that offend you? And she's like, no, I just want to finish this contact I'm having with you to know your posture because I see you making a knot in your shirt to show your belly movements. I see a lot of girls showing skin and feeling comfortable with that. And I'm here, actually, the picture of the woman that comes from there. And when I hear from you, how do you see me? I was like, I see you as a picture of a woman from there. It looks like you are someone proud of it. And she's like, correct. It was like, and I'm proud of you that got yourself in a workshop with a guy that is not from where you come from. They have been studying, they have been learning, that is sharing something. And I hope you can see that I respect whatever I'm seeing here. And she's like, I do, but I want to ask you that because in my journey as a Middle Eastern person living in US, I met a lot of people that sell something that is not even, they don't even know how it is over there. And I told her, like, unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to go to the Middle East. And this is a place that
oh, dude, it's mind-blowing.
I have a
it's so shocking. Cultural shock is we cannot comprehend their programming. It is just we will never comprehend it.
But you know what is interesting? That as a Brazilian, when I moved to US, I find out that I was programmed too. The whole program. Yeah, like go to the beach in Speedos, and I could see people look at me weird. It's like, why are you looking weird? It's hot as hell here. We are in South Florida. Why gonna put that ridiculous trunk and get that ridiculous stand that when I take it off, people is like, can you take it off your short? Because it looks like I have, right? In Brazil, it's tiny, it's better, right? And after a couple of years in understanding and how can I say that? Vesting in respect, because I truly believe that everything, when you have respect, as much as someone can be thinking different, acting different, looking different, but if you respect them, we have possibilities to learn from each other, right? And I understood that it's not trying to open people's mouth and force them to swallow me, my culture, but I'm living here. I should understand where I am. And if I don't want to offend someone, I should be maybe not erasing who I am, where I come from, but understand that everything in life can be shaped based in respect. So I stopped using certain types of vocabulary, dress in a different way, especially because now I live in the Middle West, right? People like me, you don't see around. I walk to this supermarket, people look at me like I have three hats, right? So I can be one of those that walk around just making a statement, right? Swallow me, I'm here now, suck it, right? Or I can understand that maybe I can be the person that opened the door, right?
Still doesn't apply to their culture. It's very complicated.
I
So
can imagine.
here's the thing. I binge watch. This is my waste of time. I watch this Netflix reality show that is called Love is Blind. Have you ever watched that?
Never,
Okay,
never watched.
of course not, because your kids are little. You have zero time for that. So anyway, so my kid moved out of the house. I'm empty nester, chill at night, and I watch this reality show. Mainly because I fascinated by human behavior. So Island is this show in which people meet each other in little rooms, so they don't see each other. They are like 20 guys, 20 girls, and then they go in different rooms, talking to each other through a wall, and then they find their true love without seeing each other, and they're not allowed to describe themselves to each other physically, so that you can make a decision based on something deep, not in the way you look. So then they choose the person, they choose each other, then they propose marriage. So when they meet each other, they are engaged and they have 4 weeks to live together and decide if they are going to go ahead through the wedding or if they break it off before that, to prove if love is truly blind. That's the question. So then it's so entertaining. Anyway, the new season of Love is Blind, Habibi, just came out. And I so recommended that you watch it. Just take notes to absorb the culture. So the show starts, and I'm texting my little sister because this is one of the things we do to bond. She lives in New York, so we're like, okay, ready, set, go. And we're texting, talking all the time, all the comments. So then I'm like, I'm watching the Habibi one, and she's like, oh, forget it. I can't. I can't with those guys. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll still comment. Then I start, and I'm commenting, texting my sister. And I'm like, oh, these guys are so hot. I never knew I was into this kind of guys. They are so freaking hot. I mean, they look like the Sultan, like you right now. So I'm like fascinated by all of these guys. At the end of the, I don't know, 10 episodes, Fabio, I, I I'm speechless. Like everything these guys do and say and think and stand for, the men, is the definition of disrespect for a woman on this side of the world. Everything.
I understand.
Everything. It's so hard to swallow. Like I push
Woman's
myself to
like
watch
this,
it to
right?
the end.
Woman's like this.
Yeah.
It's my shade. She's my shade.
Wow. But you would think that nowadays, with the changes in the world and social media, which has opened the world to everybody, before we didn't see how the other cultures live. But now we can see everybody anywhere, right? So you would think that these things have changed. And the girls have actually changed. So they are all like, yeah, no, I don't need you to take care of me. I work. They're self-sufficient. And they're like, yeah, we can pay everything 50-50. It's the guy's mentality. It has not changed. So only one couple ended up getting married. The rest, it was like all the guys were all of a sudden stood up and left. Left the women, didn't even explain anything because the woman doesn't even deserve an explanation. It's
She's
at
not matching.
another
She's not matching with what
level.
they were looking for. And
At
this is
another
not
level.
only there. This is not only there. Like we are.
Oh, you will think that Latinos are machos. I think after
Yeah.
watching this show, I'm no longer calling Latinos machos. Yeah. Oh, you have to
I was.
watch it just as an investigation, marketing
I
research.
will. I will.
You will understand what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying, and I will do my homework. I know some people from there, and I believe that every culture has the ups and downs, right? Things that match with whatever we think, things that do not match at all. I was talking to my wife a couple weeks ago saying that I have a blessing and a curse to be someone that raised myself, right? It stand for myself, did everything that I want to the point that I am more flexible with a lot of things because I wasn't inside of the house swallowing all those influences that you are raised to be, right? To be that person, that person. If you are a man, you have to act like this, eat like that, right? Dress like that, look like that, and stuff like that. I was always that person that like, no, today I'm gonna do a show and I'm gonna put some makeup on, and stuff like that. And it was dealing with the reality of the dance world when you're gonna have friends that will be straights, there will be gay, there will be transgenders, there will be like everything. Like everything for me was part of normal day by day since I was little when I start dancing. I believe since I start traveling, getting out of the country, you could see different realities. Living in the Middle West and having neighbors that never left. Can you believe it, Maria? Someone that never left. Like, oh, I know my state, and I went to the neighbor. Oh, I went to Florida once. Everything's about the world and stuff like that. And in my mind, everything's like, the world is so big. Why going to be attached to my backyard? Right? And
Yeah,
this is
but
the
most
mentality of a
people
lot of
don't
people
get
that
to
we do.
open their minds this way.
No.
Most people stay narrow. Changing is
And that is
and
something.
embracing change is so hard to do.
Yeah, and I have one of my best friends from college. He's in the same place doing the same thing, uh, struggling the same way. And I remember talking to him a couple of years ago, and he was talking to me about his struggles there. And I told him, like, come here. I probably can help you. You are so talented. Like, we're going to create this. Like, that's it. Like, I already embraced it. It was like, this is what we are doing. You're going to come here. We're going to find you a visa, and everything will be, and you're going to be an artist in the US. And after a couple of days, when I was building the whole thing in my mind with the intention to help him, one day he cut me off in the middle of it. He's like, Fabio, can you just listen to me? I was like, well, look, that me finish. He's like, no, can you just listen to me now? I was like, sure. And he's like, I have this friend of mine that since we were in college, he always told me that he would not stay. He always said that he was fascinated by that side of the world. He was always fascinated by people's culture and stuff like that. So since the beginning of our friendship, I knew that you would not stay here. But this is me, the same guy that always want to stay. Everything I built in my journey was to be able to be here, to help my little community, to be around my father. And I want to tell you that I'm proud of you and happy for you. But what makes you happy and what fulfills you will kill me. And he was saying that,
100%.
and by a second, I was like beating the shit of myself. I was like, how could I do that to him? Believe
But
that
at
the
the
way
same
to live
time,
is my
this
way.
story is applicable to your session and the woman that challenged you with the question. Because
Correct.
if she chooses to maintain her
Uh-huh.
beliefs, we could understand how your performance could be triggering for her,
Uh-huh.
right?
Cool.
How can you like throw oil on everybody at the beginning of your session so nobody gets offended? Maybe just saying, please forgive my ignorance. I did my research as much as possible. But of course, I was not born in this culture. I hope
Okay.
I do well representing it. But if there's a part that did not represent it correctly, please forgive me because I am programmed in a very different way. Just something short to say at the beginning so that nobody gets like triggered.
Yeah, especially when I'm teaching a dance workshop, like not so much a session that we present at the Zumba convention, but a dance workshop. I like to start to saying like, number one, we are doing a dance created by women to represent the power of women to bring life to this world. So this is all about you feel the power, and that power nobody can take away from you. But you are learning from a man, and a man that do not come from the North, the Middle East. I am a Brazilian individual that is fascinated by your culture, that is
Even though I
proud.
don't look Brazilian right now.
Correct. It's always like that. When I say that I'm Brazilian, people look at you to my butt. It's like, wait, you should have something there. I was like, I got none. the only person in my family that doesn't have a butt. So I like to have those dialogues to make them understand that it is a blessing for me to be able to study about their culture, and I want to do right. But I cannot erase the fact that I'm a man. So I'm already breaking a mold. And the way I can get in is that this is the way it is, but I am a dancer, a modern dancer, and I like to break molds. I believe that our body is the way we move can heal. And there is no a specific way to heal a man, a specific way to heal a woman. I believe that we live in a society that expect that you're going to fit in boxes, right? I want to erase those things. I live my life. I still live, and I hope to live until the end of my day, not fitting in anybody's box and doing what I feel doing. And in that process, I will do right things. I will do bad things. I will make people happy and proud of me. I will offend some people because we are all human. The biggest mistake I believe that anybody can do is try to fit in something. It's start to make decisions about your life, thinking about
But
what.
at the same time, Fabio, sitting in boxes or in communities is a primal instinct because it's the way that even
Correct.
animals survive in the wild. You need to
Correct.
be accepted by the community, or otherwise the alpha is gonna come kill you, and you have no tribe, no
Sure.
pack. So it's like it's in the cells in our body to try to fit in for survival instinct. So
Correct.
yes, I understand that we're trying to embrace, don't be so consumed by fitting in to the point that it makes you become somebody that you're not. That fitting in is necessary for survival. Like, look at us. We fit in Zumba. It's our community. It's our tribe. We needed to find it. We feel so loved. Thank God for Zumba. It's beautiful.
But
It
you still
satisfies
have your,
our
but
need to
you are
fit
you.
in.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets it. Notice that
Correct.
many instructors that want to take it farther in their Zumba career, they are looking at the example of those who are the Zumba stars, and they just want to copy paste it so that they get to success. So in the process, you lose a little bit of your, or some don't, some lose it, some totally lose themselves trying to be somebody else. That's the journey of discovery within our Zumba journey, right? And Zumba community.
Correct.
So it's more the reminder of, yes, we do need to fit in. Because the culture is like everybody's saying, yeah, no, you don't need to fit in. Like, no, that's not true. We do. It's a primal instinct. And that's how we survive. If we're in an island, you need to belong to the tribe in the island. Otherwise, you're not going to survive on your own, right? So we do need to fit in, but also, like, don't forget that you can fit it. Like, this conversation has been so beautiful to embrace that. Like, yes, you do need to fit in. You wanted to fit in with the black dancers. You know you didn't, but you wanted to because it's a primal instinct. But you knew that you needed to develop your own uniqueness. So I think this is the most beautiful message of our whole chat, that embrace yourself. Don't try not to fit in. No, you need it. And Zumba is just one of the many things that we need to fit in. We need to fit in our family, in different cultures.
Yeah, the way when I walked into that company, I understood that there was an expectation, right? And that is my own expectation, right? In my journey, in everything that I have been doing in my life, I try to get in a place where the expectations of that job, of that group, of that wife, of those friends, they will match, if not 100%, close to that. With that, in that process, whatever you need to be able to be moving in the direction that you want, you will be fed by that. For example, we are immigrants, right? We left our language, our culture, our family, our friends, and we moved to this place. It's not saying like, I'm going to live over here like I was living in Brazil and in Colombia. I'm going to be in hospitals everywhere. I'm going to curse all the time that I feel. I'm going to be
Well,
cutting my
I am in
grass.
bikinis all the time. But anyway.
Oh, you are in South Florida. You can. You can. Yeah, that's right. And you should keep like that. Don't change. Don't change. But it was important for my process of growth as an immigrant in a new country that I will not lose who I am, but I need to kind of follow certain boundaries over here to not be that crazy person that is destroying possibilities. When I started teaching Zumba, I had the owner of this small dance studio that I was working for. She paid for the whole thing. She looked at me and she says like, you do great over here. I was bothering her that I need more work. And she's like, the only way I can give you more work over here is if you teach a different format. And I was like, what is that? She's like, oh, Zumba, you got the personality. Everybody's attractive. Let's do this. I was like, what is that? And she brought me to a Zumba class on Friday night. And on Saturday morning, I came to my basic one and rhythms too in the same weekend.
With
And
whom?
you were there.
With Eric?
Was with Beto. Was with Beto. You were there.
You took
Beto, you
my
were there.
training?
Yeah, you were
Where
there,
was it?
Eric. Yeah, that was in Fort Lauderdale. I believe that was at the university. You were there. I remember. And I remember walking and seeing those almost 200 people that took the training. Everybody dressing like and lime green, hot pink, everybody loud. And I was like, what the hell is this? What am I doing here? I was so busy judging everybody over there. It's like, how can you be a dancer when you have
No,
no
no, no, no,
rhythm?
no.
Like,
How can you
what?
call yourself a dancer?
Uh-huh.
Because that's the difference. We are not bailarines, we're bailadores. Walter Diaz me enseñó esto. But I don't know how to say it in English. You just love dancing, but it doesn't make you a dancer. It's
Correct,
different.
correct. But in my mind, those things didn't match. And I remember Beth walk in and everybody screaming. I was like, who is this guy? And they start dancing. And in my mind, after watching the whole thing, I was like, it is a joke. But you know what? It's a good joke because I can dance. That means I will be a star. Great. I ignore everything that was said that I was not even paying attention because I was too busy judging you, judging you, judging you, like 90% of the dancers, right?
Besides, you took the rhythms too, which was called level 2 back then.
And
And it was samba time. And you must have felt like,
I was like, bring me the knife. I'm
what?
going to kill myself right now. I was like, what? And I remember Beth asking, like, who has background in samba, in flamenco, in belly dance? No, he didn't ask back dance. He asked a lot of things. And after a while, I just stopped doing it. And when he asked about belly dance, I didn't put my hand up. And he said, like, why you didn't put your hand up? And I was like, I actually do. I was like, this is ridiculous. Everybody's already looking at me. And that was a training that I met Priscilla Sartori, that I met Betsy, right? Like many people that they are part of my life. And I had no idea that was the beginning of my shift from the dance world to the fitness world. And as much as I thought that I would be a star, my first class I taught for 15 minutes because everybody laughed. I sucked so bad that I didn't know how to open the box, put my dance background in, and swallow the new format. I was like, no, I'm going to do the same way, the same thing, and this will work. As much as I was an immigrant in a new country, and I was repeating to myself, you need to learn how to live over here. You have to embrace certain things because this is the step for the next level. In the training, I couldn't do that. When I started teaching, I couldn't do that. And there was a Mexican lady that actually helped me to get better because she was kind of another mother that I had. She was the one like, Fabio, you cannot do that because I can follow. It's like, ma'am, you cannot follow anything. It's just like, right. And you're going to have a lot of students like me in your class. So what are you going to do? Invite me to go back home? I was like, correct. So that woman for weeks helped me to understand what I can do.
How long did it take you to finally do it well?
At least a year, at least. And I have trainings that I have someone that in the end of the training that comes and says like, how long do you think I will take? I get right. I was like, that question, I have no answer. You are the one that have to do your homework. If you decide to be a jerk, like Fabio, so full of himself, and ignore the fact that we are all beginners here, you're probably going to suck for a while, and maybe you will not survive the rush. Because I was used to get the no's. When the people came into me in my face and says like, you suck. Nobody can do what you do. Are you really teaching? Are you licensed? How can you teach it like that? This is the things that people came to tell me. And in my mind, I was like, how dare you to talk to me like that? But because I was
love
used to the
it that you
no's.
can give this answer because it comes from you, because it was your experience. I wouldn't be able to say that because if I tell them, you're going to think you're all that, then they're gonna feel judged
Oh, I
because
see the whole
you
thing.
went through that is awesome. You can say that.
And I tell them, like, yeah, I had to find, there was a shift in my journey. And I tell you, there was in my Zumba, the Jumpstart Gold training with the Joy and Josie, that there was the shift of Fabio as the dance instructor trying to fit it in fit in Zumba and not being successful. I woke up in the Zumba Gold because that poem that we read at the Jumpstart Gold or Zumba Gold training, there was a time, that was the button that was pressed. I saw my father over there. I saw my father. And I was like, it's kind of like everything was about Fabio. Was Fabio find his own power? Was Fabio recognizing his talents? It was Fabio fighting to be who he wants to be. And now that Fabio is working with this dance fitness program, Fabio needs to understand that it's not about Fabio anymore. I spent such a long time in my journey trying to survive everything that I lost the beauty of the whole thing, right? It to share. So in my Jumpstart Gold training, and thanks to Joy, because I remember she coming to me, I was already doing stuff for Zumba. She came to me and she's like, you will be such a good Zumba Gold instructor. And in my mind, I was like, oh, hell no. I want to jump and kick my leg and do everything. And people clap on me, right? And she said that she was the first person that saw something in me that I could not see it. And after that training, I remember teaching my first Zumba Gold class after the training, because I saw other classes, right? And that was the time that everything was matching. Everything, like,
The
it
first
is a,
time that it felt good not
it
to
felt
need
good.
to stand out and be different and it's a survival mode. That it was
And
okay.
yeah, and interesting is that Joy is a former dancer like me. I needed someone like me that saw probably herself on me to recognize, like, no, to make that guy wake up and shift. I need to do something this way, and that's the way it was. And I tell her all the time that I have the opportunity to see her, to connect with her, to learn from her, or to do something because she believes that I can do. I always tell her, like, as much as you don't know, you are another mother that the universe gave it to me. And as much as we didn't have a really long conversations and stuff like that, but I want you to know that the instructor that I am today is thanks to you because you press the right button. Or I will be that arrogant dancer trying to fit in and not being successful because I had to grab this whole year that I worked so hard to build something that will not go anywhere because this is my journey and I love and care about it. But I need to put this here to be able to embrace this. And when I understand this, when this is in my body, I will be able to open the Pandora box and start to introduce this to here. Now my background will be my power. But in the beginning was my enemy. And all the time that I see a dancer walk into my training, I was like, oh God, look, Fabio, right there. Now it's karma. Let's deal with Fabio. And I can see for the way they look, the way they walk. And I'm teaching something or someone is doing something, and I see the woman looking here. I was like, God, that was the way I was looking to everybody in that training. So it's nice when you are facing the mirror and you see your mistakes. And the interesting part is that I have zero problem in talking about this. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, as an almost 47 years old man, father of four, a grandfather, and someone that thanks to this dance fitness program that we work, in my case, almost 2 decades, right? This program helped me to be a better person. That everybody that came to my trainings, to my classes, they are part of this journey. And the Fabio that people knows today is not the same Fabio that they met when I was taking my training or when I was traveling, performing with this
Can
person or
it
whatever.
be? Can it be because you finally belong?
I do believe that. I do believe that. But I can tell you something because I heard that for a lot of people that take trainings with different people and come to my training, they say like, but you have a different way to teach your training. You have a different way to teach your classes like the same way as you. Nobody's the same. We are everything and everybody, right? I can't try to teach my kids the same thing, the same way I learned. I'm probably going to break them because they were not raised the same way. They didn't pass through the same struggles. But I do make mistakes like that. a lot of times I'm rough, like all those choreographers that says like, come on, horrible, come here. Let's see if we can do better with those legs. And in my mind, it's like, I will do better because I want to get out of this place where you call me horrible. And the last time I saw her, she looked at me open, a beautiful smile. She's like, Fabio's like, no, call me horrible. Call me horrible. I have like a really, really interesting relationship with that word because I was horrible and I am not the best in what I do, but I am enough.
Being called horrible is familiar to you. You know it's hard, but you know it's not going to destroy you.
No, it doesn't. Like something that I learned is that the only person that can destroy you is yourself. And I will tell that to anybody. You will have forces that come from outside in so many moments trying to push you down. You just go down if you let it. You know, someone told me, a really close friend, she said something about the secret you, right? What made Maria, the goddess that is inside of you. That everybody has that. If you go to Spain, you're going to learn about the duende, right? The gypsy soul that walk with you all the time that you are dancing flamenco and stuff like that. So doesn't matter where you go, whatever culture, there is always something related to that God or goddess that we have inside of us. So it is in moments that the things are not going the way I'm expecting that I try to connect with that. And I do the same things that I did so many times in my life. I repeat to myself that I'm beautiful.
And
I
how
say
do you
to
connect?
myself,
That was my next question. By talking out loud to yourself, like looking at yourself in the mirror, or like what exactly do you do to connect with your
hey,
inner
exactly like
God?
that. I look to myself in the mirror. Most of the time is in the mirror because I do spend a long time in the car. I have that little mirror over here. I look to myself and I say those things. Sometimes I laugh because it's something so old and I kind of feel that 14 years old child
We're
that
always
got
going to
here.
be.
Correct.
And we spend our whole life trying not to be. And then
Uh-huh.
towards the end of our life, we finally make peace and accept that that's
Yeah.
who we have always been and it was fine.
If there was a way I could separate myself of him, I would like to be that person that he struggled, that he didn't have it. I would love to be the person that would be there to clap for him and say, like, you did great. I'm here for you, right? So all the time that I have the opportunity to be that person for someone, I do that with all my heart. And some people says, oh, okay, here we go, Fabio and his mission, helping someone to start from the scratch. I was like, why is that bad? I'm not helping someone to start from the scratch. I'm not doing this. But I believe that I can show them that, like, you have this, you have this, you have this. Those are tools. I'm not opening any door for you. You are the one that's going to go there and open. And my job is to tell you that you have that. So when I have people that come to my training and they ask me in the end, like, do you think I will be a good instructor? Do you think, can you give me a feedback? I like to give feedback, right, to people. And I says, like, anybody want a feedback? Send to me a message after training and I will tell you something. And I don't focus in the bad. Like, whatever I see that is good in that person, I says, like, this is your power. Your power is this, is this, is this. You do have a couple things that you can work on it,
Oh, I
but I
love
hope you
this.
don't.
So can you
But
tell me
don't
my
forget
power?
about those. Yeah, your power is here.
Can you give me feedback?
Oh, your power. You need it, right? You have so much power, and
Oh,
you
come
embrace so
on. Give it to
painfully.
me.
Yeah.
Give me
So
feedback.
your
Tell me I'm
feedback.
horrible.
You would feel like that's what you think. Yeah,
I
we
want
are
to
not
see
being
how I
permanently
feel when somebody calls me that I'm horrible. Come on.
horrible. Your power. You connect with people in a beautiful way as your friend, and we spend a long time without seeing each other. But all the time that I see you, I feel like we were here last day, yesterday. You live the moment, and all the time that I am with you, I feel like you are here. You are here. Like you are not on the phone, you are not texting, you are not looking. No, you are here. As much as we can spend a long time without see each other, without talking, all the time that I'm with you, I am with you. Like we are living the moment. This is a huge power. I believe that that's the power that many of us struggle to live the moment because we have so
But
much.
also,
But
can it be that is because we have a shared bestie in common, Victor, who's both our bestie?
learning,
And maybe he keeps
learning.
updating each other on each other's lives because he does talk every day with both of us. So maybe
I told
that's
him
why
like,
you
you're like
feel
an old lady, Victor. You're always, what is happening with Maria? What is happening there? What did you see when we went to visit that, whatever? Like he knows everything,
maybe that's
everything.
why we don't need to talk to each other because we already know what's going on in each other's life.
That's right.
Shout out
Blondie,
to
there you
Victor.
go.
We love you.
It is like, I think that's a huge power to live the moment as almost 47, full of kids, right? With a wife, with the bills, with the classes, with the crazy schedule, and being someone that have to live in a different country, in a different culture, right? And trying to find the ways to charge myself to be able to keep moving. And I know that you know that because you're an immigrant like me. I live in the Middle West, so the Brazilian community is almost none. So I have to be figured it out how to feed myself with the things that I need to be able to move forward, right? To be able to be a good father, a good husband, a good friend, a good instructor, a good set, a good whatever. So I truly believe that living the moment and embracing what you have, that's a good way to move forward. So my son lives in South Florida and I spent almost like over 6 months without seeing him. And since I moved to here, this is a day by day struggle, right? That I see something that reminds me of him. I can call him because he's in school and stuff like that. But when I'm with him, I am with him, right? When I'm talking to my mother on the phone, everybody can be calling me. I'm not answering. Like I'm talking to my mother until I got a message on WhatsApp saying there is something serious. But because I try to live the moment,
But
right?
don't you think that this is a power that comes with age? Because I can tell you in my 20s and 30s, I was not present at all.
Right.
I was too concerned about life and my insecurities and my fears, like to be present. And then life slowed me down by force. And then I realized that I was wasting my beautiful life by not being present. So this is a superpower that I have created or realized and embraced for the last 3 to 4 years. Before that, it was very different. But I
But you
am
know,
very glad that you noticed that I am very present because I
I
do live by the second and absorb it and inhale it and enjoy it. And I want to extend it every second that I am with you or that I am with a person that is special to me or everybody, my trainings, wherever I go, new people I meet. I find that we are blessed with such a beautiful opportunity to meet amazing human beings every week at our trainings. And to get to be the designated driver, because it's not that we know more of them. They are like experts in so many areas, right? But we're the designated driver for the training. Then to get to exchange knowledge and love and passion, we're just so privileged to have this job,
it is.
right?
It is. And I remember when I met you in that training, because the Albertos were behind me. I was all the way in the back, and you were there on the stage with Beto and with Eric and Gina Grant and Tanya was there. There was a lot of possessors on the stage. So they were here and they came to talk to me after the end of the first day. So we were introduced. And
Really?
the person that I met in that day is not the person that I have as a friend now. And that is the beauty of to see that we are all moving, changing, growing, learning, right? And that person that you met in that day that you don't remember neither, it's not the Fabio that is here. Not because I'm embarrassed of that Fabio. That's why I talk about all the mistakes that I did. Because in my mind, someone after listen to that probably will not make those mistakes. Maybe we make another ones, and that's okay, right? And that's part of the journey. We do right and wrong and wrong and wrong and right and wrong, wrong, right and right, right? So what are we
And
gonna
with
be
every
focusing?
year, we become wiser. That's all what matters.
You know, I cover my
Right.
grays, or well, at least I try with the makeup, but I love my gray. I love my gray. And I
Awesome.
heard not for one, for twice, but a couple of people was like, why you don't dye that? I was like,
You don't have
I
gray on
do.
your head,
I
only
do.
on the
I
beard.
do.
You
And can
do,
I
but
tell
it's
you,
not
they don't come
noticeable.
curly. They don't come curly. They are like this. You know,
What a
I'm like, come on,
pain. So what
come
do you do?
on.
You plug it? You plug it,
No,
or what do you do?
no. I
You
just
let
let,
it be.
for now, you have to get close to see it. But from far, now when I'm weeping, when I'm texting, nobody see anything. But it is coming. And I will not lie to you. I'm kind of excited for how they're going to look like. I have my moments where I look to myself in the mirror when I see those old videos of mine. I was like, oh my God, I was so bold. Look at me removing my shirt when I didn't even have a muscle. I was doing that. And I like it. I like it to see it, those different phases. Because in reality, we are creatures of phases, right? There is a
Yes.
phase that we don't want a serious relationship. We just want to be playing around. And there is all the time that we are more in a relationship. There is a time that I was all about me and me and me and me. And right now, the me is the others. Like when I see my family doing well and they are together and they are playing, and I'm here sitting down with my wife and I see my kids playing, that's fulfilling. It's to see that now it's not about me anymore. It's about them. And one day I will be nothing but the story of my kids,
Carry
of
on.
my friends, of maybe students, or someone that watched me performing. And that was something that was really interesting that my therapist asked me once. She says, like, Mister, do not have fear. She was used to call me like that. Like, you always do things. Like,
Well, you
want
go to
something that
therapy
you are
now,
afraid of.
or this was in the
Oh,
past?
oh no, for years I have been doing therapy. I don't stop. Like, since
On
I
your
moved,
own or with your wife?
on my own. We did together too. We did together for a while, but I never stopped to have my sessions. And this is something that I have to do for myself, and
Once a
everybody
week?
else take a benefit for a week. Yeah, once a week. Sometimes when I'm not doing my best, I have twice, and I have this great therapist that I can call like 11 p.m. I was like, I need to talk. Are you available? So she
Is it
after
a legit
second.
therapist or is just a friend that you call therapy?
Oh no, he's a therapist. He's a
Okay.
therapist. Okay, let me tell you, sometimes I was like, I'm so glad that you are there. We are not in the same room, so I don't feel the punches. It's like, but you are supposed to feel it. I was like, okay, ma'am. So after a couple of weeks, she asked me, so what are you afraid of? You have to have something afraid of. And one day she asked me, if Fabio is not here anymore, if Fabio is just memory and story, how do you want your story to be set? And that took me completely out of my system. I She found it. She found my biggest fear. It's like when Fabio is not here to be fighting for whatever he believes. When Fabio is not here saying what he thinks. Like when Fabio will be a memory, right? And what my kids will be talking about me, what my friends, someone that took my class, a couple of family members, and there was months and months of session about those things, about
So what did it come down to?
as someone that worked really hard to build a career and have been recognized by my talent and by my hard work, it is not that moves me. To someone come and say that you are a great dancer. I love to see you with the makeup on stage and doing everything. I see your power and stuff. As someone that works in entertainment for over 3 decades, I want people to see Fabio, who Fabio is,
Which is
not the
what?
dancer, not the entertainer, not the Mr. Smile, like people say. Oh, Fabio is the nicest guy ever. He's always smiling. He's always so light. I was like, yeah, talk to my wife. She will tell you about another side of Fabio, you know. Talk to my kids. They will tell you that, yeah, I'm rough, like all those choreographers, like my mom. I want to be remembered as someone that cares, as someone that shares, as someone that worked hard and then learned how to love himself and someone that actually help other people to find that God that they have inside of themselves, right? To recognize your forte, what makes you you. And as much as you have things that you should be, you better work on it. You don't forget that you have something there that is good. And I believe that if we can be moving forward in anything in our life, first, recognizing what we have good and putting that in a pedestal right there. Like, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. Now let's work in the other. If we have that to be proud of it, we will be able to work in the other thing. But unfortunately, most of the places that we work and people that we have around, they focus on what you not good on it. And they don't come to tell you what you have good. And in that process, you don't have the power to go to the right place. I learned how to, when people say no, like I'm not good enough, oh, I will prove it. I don't need to prove that I'm this, that I'm that. I just want to
But
live
that is the age. I'm 100% sure it's the age because I'm the
it.
same age. I'm 47 and I am at the same place. It's like there's
We
no
good,
need
my
to prove
friend. We are doing
ourselves.
good. We are doing good.
Yes.
Do you ready? Powerful.
Strong.
I
Baby,
try.
I think this is the perfect way to end our conversation. A very inspiring and powerful speech that you just gave us about how to be remembered in life and how to live our lives. This is beautiful. But before we say goodbye, I want you to tell people where they can find you on social media, at trainings, at Zumba classes, at downtown Chicago, performing what? Can you please tell us all where to find you?
So I work for the Midtown Athletic Club. I work in the Willowbrook, Palatine, and Bannockburn. So those are the three places that you can come and take classes with me, Zumba
In
related,
Chicago.
in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area. I do teach couple dance workshops, not only in Chicagoland, but I travel. So if anybody want to have me over there, you can reach out.
Host you.
I do perform all the time that my schedule let me. I perform in this unbelievable place called Alhambra Palace in the city in Chicago. It is a place that
When do you
you
perform?
have to go. Normally on Fridays when I'm not traveling, so you have to check me on social media and you're gonna see me not
On
only
which social
performing
media?
Facebook and Instagram. I don't have anything else. It's too much work
What's
for
the
me.
name and your account?
So Facebook, I'm Fabio Barros Official. And on Instagram, I am Fabio Barros ZES. Zest.
Okay.
Over there, you're going to find information about what I'm doing, including my trainings. I cover Indiana and Illinois. Those are the places that I normally teach my trainings. I
Zumba
do
B1
teach
trainings.
B1, Jumpstart Gold, Zumba Gold, and Rhythm Street. And I do have a training in South Carolina booked for January. And I have next weekend, I think, a training in Michigan. In
Can
Portuguese,
people also find you virtually to take a training, a B1 training virtually, in case that they like your style of telling them they're horrible? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
or depends on the person. If I see a partner, like, let's take that. You say, sometimes I have Jumpstart Gold and Zumba Gold trainings virtually because
Not many.
not many. I like the in-person experience. So if you can travel to me, people come to see me.
And
One of
if I
those
go
things
to
over here.
Zumba convention, where do I find you? Teaching what?
So I did this year the Hips Revolution session. That was the session that I presented this year. Next
With the
year
Sultan,
with the
alter
Sultan,
ego.
right? You never know how you're gonna see me. I like to have fun with this whole thing. But 2025, let's see. Maybe we're gonna have new stuff. Who knows?
Did you apply for a new session?
Let's see. Yeah,
Yes. Oh.
yeah. Let's see how what gonna be
It has
something.
to be, I was going to say some gypsy style. But then that would be too similar to flamenco flow.
Probably.
So
But
it
you
has
know,
to be
flamenco,
something else.
and I will be there supporting the amazing Jessica as always.
Yeah.
She is
Yes. Gorgeous.
unbelievable. Oh
Yes.
yeah, my dear
Baby,
friend.
thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
And thank you for doing makeup in front of our eyes to see how you transform yourself in just 20 minutes. Look at this. Amazing. Thank you
Maybe
so much.
next time we can do something different because I like to have
Let's
fun
do that.
with those things.
Because to be honest, I had so many questions to ask you, and I did not ask any of them because we just carried on with so much other
Because we've
stuff.
been too long without seeing each other. That's the thing.
Correct. Yes. So for sure, I would love to have you another time and many other times. But thank you so much for making room 2 hours and a half away from the kids. Thank you, Renee, for giving him this time. I don't know who's taking care of the
She's
kids
right there in the
now.
family room, managing the kids.
Thank you, Renee. Yes. So that we could all enjoy you and your wisdom and your journey in life. This was
Thank you so much.
I loved it.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you
Love you so much. Bye bye, guys.
I told you it was going to be like at a theme park. I'm still on a high from all of the ups and downs and all of the different slides that we took in this conversation. If you appreciated this conversation or you enjoyed it, please don't forget to stop for a second and click on follow on Spotify or subscribe to my YouTube channel if this is where you're watching us, so that you can continue to help me to grow this beautiful project and we can continue to enjoy these awesome conversations with the people that we admire in the Zumba world. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.